So you're installing your bull shifter, pretty much leave the peg where it is to start with, because that's usually in the most comfortable place for you. You take the bull shifter product itself, you'll be supplied with 2 Allen keys. Take the smaller Allen key and back out all of the grub screws that you can see that center on the inside. So there's 1, 2 on either side and 1, 2 on the top and bottom. And all you do is slide the bull shifter over the existing peg like that. Then we begin to tighten up the grub screws. Everything else is loose, so don't worry about that. We start tightening up the grub screws onto the peg itself until it gets to the point where it's firm. Not it's tight, it's relatively firm. Because the next thing you do, once you've done that, underneath, so it's nice. Yeah, that's getting nice and solid. A couple on this side. So it's reducing the rotation of the peg, which is what you want. Yeah, so that's relatively stiff. Now these jaws move around, and that's okay. Leave that exactly as it is for the moment, because what we want to do is try and find out whether your boot, which would sit here, is that roughly in the right rotation that you want in terms of how this is parallel to the boot itself. So the jaws sit nicely on either side, so that's good. So we're relatively comfortable with that. Don't tighten them up again yet, because we want to now establish where these jaws are going to sit. So if we take it that your boot is roughly about there, you might want to get somebody to help you with this if you're sat on your bike. And what you want is the upper and lower pegs almost touch tight with the boot itself. So that is now roughly touch tight. So we know now that these jaws are set to the width of my boot, so that's good. So we take the larger Allen key and we're just going to nip them up so that they're nice and firm. What's happening now is the outer casing is clamping down on the ball joints, so it's restricting the movement. There's a serrated washer on the inside of the ball joint that is in the socket, stopping it from rotating. That's pretty solid now, and so we're going to test it, make sure nothing's moved. Yeah, that feels good on both sides. So once we feel we're comfortable with this, we lock everything off. With the 4 screws on the outer case, just tighten them up. 4. Take the others, the grub screws on the outside, there's 6 of them, and just wind those in, because we're trying to stop the rotation of the peg. And that will just use the peg as a brake to stop it from rotating. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 6th. The 6th one is underneath. So that now is locked off. Just do a final check. Yeah, that's fine. The last thing to do, which is very, very important, is there are 2 socket heads on the top and bottom. And they're the anti-pivot sockets. And what you do is you wind those in till they are touch tight with the casing. And what that's doing, as you press the gears up and down, it's stopping the jaws from opening. So you only want them touch tight. You don't want to keep winding them in, because they'll slowly close the jaws. So once that's touch tight, then you know the jaws can't open up in use. boot still fits nicely, and so you're ready to go. Now it's on, and you've pretty much set it up in a garage setting. The best thing to do is to get out on the road and check to see whether you've got the right riding comfort. So I'd recommend setting this up before you go on a long journey. So take half an hour to go out, check it, adjust the jaws if you have to make sure that you've got it so it shifts the gears comfortably. Make sure that everything's locked off. If you find that you want the gear to be in a different position, obviously most bikes come with adjustment. Just adjust it up and down so you fine tune it. Get yourself ready before any major trip, and then you'll find that it's easy to use after that. You're used to shifting gears one particular way, so it'll feel odd to begin with, but then as you get into it, I've been riding with one of these for the last 4 or 5 years, and I can't do it the other way now. So you'll get used to it, and then you'll find that it's really very simple and easy to use, much easier than a traditional gear pedal.